Welcome back to day 9 of our journey to 1500 ELO on chess.com. Today we'll just jump straight into the game and see who our opponent's going to be. It's a person from Morocco and he's got an ELO of 1244. Venom X 2002. So we'll play as per usual, and our opponent plays this move straight off the bat, and I think we'll move our pawn up, so if they take, then we can get our bishop out and recapture. Our opponent might play this move, or potentially a fianchetto like this. We could consider getting our knight out here. Which I think we'll do. I'm considering learning the Catalan, which would have been this kind of a continuation, I think. They opt for this, and I think we might put our knight up like this, pressuring their pawn. They castle, and we can look for a castling maneuver ourselves too. I think this square is the best one, so they don't have this pin. We'll go here and see what they do. They play c5, which is interesting. This opts to hit this. So what happens after we capture like this, perhaps? I don't really like the prospects of opening up this diagonal for their bishop. How about this move? Then they capture, and we could capture like this, perhaps. I think we'll go for this move. Here. They capture, and we'll do it like this, as we mentioned. We might try to do this and get his powerful bishop here. But instead our opponent pressures us immediately. This move seeks to open up this diagonal. So how about we play this move, perhaps? If they capture, we've got this move. Alternatively, as the center might open up, we could look at this castling move first, and then if they capture, we can go like this. They can't really threaten anything with a knight move. They could play this, perhaps, hitting our queen like this, and we could just pull back with our queen, defending our knight. Then if they capture here, we take their queen, and we get this resulting position. We have to be careful they don't have a powerful infiltration here as well. But currently I'm not seeing a strong threat follow-up. They jump in like this, and in this position I'm looking at this kind of a double move here, but we have to make note we will lose our rook. This might be a move if we play this. then what's our plan going to be? This is a difficult move to counter, I guess, because it adds an attacker to this knight. At least we've got 2 defenders, so as long as we don't capture this knight and add another attacker for them, then we should be fine. Which I guess means we'll play this move here. Our opponent might try to get their bishop into the game now, or potentially get their queen up here and add another attacker. I was thinking of this capture, but I'm not seeing a lot of ideas as a follow-up. I just realized this might have been a free pawn for us, actually. Our opponent captures. Okay, I guess we'll have to recapture like this. And what will their follow-up be? They might capture here, and we might have to capture like this, so we don't have this isolated pawn in the center. We might want to play this rook move here at some point, so that our bishop's not hanging at the end of different lines. They play their queen out like this, which I think is a mistake probably, because I'm looking at this move. The pawn is undefended, and we have a fork here on this square. Let's look into this move. Our opponent is looking at this double attack here, but us moving this knight not only hits the queen, but it also adds a defender here. So I guess we will play this and see what happens. Our opponent's probably going to defend this by maybe pulling their queen back. They do it like this, okay? So how are we going to respond to this move? This move rather might be on the way, but then we can just pull our knight back and we'll be up a pawn. I think this move is probably going to be pretty critical soon, as this pawn might not exist for too much longer. We could try to re-emphasize the threat here, but we don't have another piece that could attack that square. Not right now, at least. Our opponent's knight here is looking a bit weak. But trying to kick it around seems a bit awkward. But I'll look at this again, because this is not an option. This is not an option. This is maybe an option, actually, because we couldn't capture like this. I think we'll move our rook. And then they hit our knight like this. I guess we might just drop back. And then we can push this pawn and threaten to trade bishops, getting rid of his powerful bishop. Do we have a better retreating move for our knight? I'm not really spotting one, so I guess this is probably the best move. So which moves could we expect here? This is probably a move they might be looking at, but we still have this move in response. I want a way of punishing this undefended knight, but as long as we can't create a double threat, I think it's going to be difficult to do so. We might try to reposition our bishop along this diagonal, but this move might be powerful for our opponent as well. So Venom X is currently thinking right now. So which alternative moves could we be facing? I think the most likely... they actually moved their queen down here. Okay. So how are we going to respond to this queen move? I don't think this generates any threat, as we've got this defended. This is the closest thing to a threat this is generating. I'm looking at this move right now. And then they would have to move their bishop. I'm liking this connect 4 idea here at least. So I think we'll go for this. Yeah, I don't really see what this move is doing right now, but it might be an idea of setting up a long-term attack against our king. If our opponent is going to take here, we will take back, and then what's their move going to be? This is a move here, and we would respond by moving our queen, I guess. This move, they move their bishop instead. Could we try to pin their knight to the queen? And then play this move afterwards? This move does not get hit by this because we can recapture. I think I'm liking this move. But I'm just going to look at this continuation first. This seems awkward for our opponent. So we'll try this now and see how our opponent responds. It covers this square as well, which was an awkward infiltration square. We might want to get rooks onto this file here. They play this, and after this move they probably recapture like this, and we can hit the knight. They have to recapture like this, and then we have this move. I think we are going to win a piece here, as if they move their knight, they lose the queen, and if they hit our queen, we recapture like this, or capture it in the first place, I guess. Let's go for this. I'm not seeing a good response to it, but we'll see in the analysis afterwards whether this is going to be correct or not. We play this move. And I think we are just up a clean piece right now. So I am really optimistic about this position. We will pre-move the capture. They decline the trade, and we might look for this move. Alternatively, we could be looking at this move, but I don't think it's as forcing. This might just help us get the rooks out of the game, but we have to make sure we're not hanging this rook, I'm realizing. So this does come with a threat, and I'm glad we spotted it. I would have liked to play this move, but we don't have anything covering this square to recapture. So we could just move our rook like this and then prepare this move. I think we'll do just that and move like this. But then we'll have to look at this move, after which we could probably just play like this. Then they could play like this, and they would have the double stack, which is kind of awkward, but we could get our knight into the game like this. We'll take the bishop. I didn't notice their skewer, so this knight capture was a lucky move to have in the pocket. We are up 4 points of material, so we'll just have to convert this position. I think this is going to be the move to go for here, picking up an additional pawn, because we can't really check him and get our rook out like this. If our opponent moves their rook up along this file here, we just prepare. This is a kind of tricky move, actually. So how do we respond to this threat? Wherever we put our bishop, it's going to get hit by a rook. And this rook is defended by their queen. I don't think we have this move, as this square is not covered in case they check, which they could have done right now as well, I think. This is not an immediate threat though. We could push here and reposition our bishop. Because if they take, we take like this. So we'll play this pawn up here. And see what our opponent's going to play. It's a good thing we've got time in this position still, because our opponent is still managing to find threats in this position despite being down a piece. Which I do have to say, definitely our opponent is playing well considering the circumstances here. This, and we move here, and they do not get the pawn because it's defended. So what would we do in the shoes of our opponent right now? I think I would like something like this, maybe preparing to double up while hitting the queen. Then we could respond by moving down like this, maybe. I would have liked to threaten this rook in response, or threaten something, but we don't have a lot of moves with our queen there. So after this move, our opponent resigns in this position. Perfect. That's plus 28 ELO for us today. And we'll jump straight into the game review and see how we or our opponent could have improved. Thanks a lot for the game, Venom X 2002. Today we played with an accuracy of 90.3 and our opponent played with an accuracy of 77.5. We started with a normal Queen's Gambit kind of position. This was apparently called the Grunfeld defense. And we played pretty normal moves. Apparently in this position we should have captured. Why? Because if they take this pawn, I guess we could probably push. Yeah, that's the idea. And then we get a powerful center and kick our opponent back. That's interesting. But we played this move instead. Our opponent played their bishop out, and we moved our knight. They castled, we defended here with our bishop, defending this potential pin here rather, and they pushed in the center. Here we left the book moves a bit into the game by playing this not entirely optimal move. We should have castled here, and we recaptured in an incorrect way. That's because this move was going to be powerful. Or this move seems to be better as the computer gets time to analyze. And then it seems like a lot of the moves here would have been good, but apparently just a6 and kicking our stuff back seems to be pretty decent. We went like this, they put their knight out, and we castled. They jumped in, we defended our diagonal, they captured, we captured, and this was a blunder. We found the correct continuation, and they defended like this. Here we should have apparently kicked the knight out already, I guess because it's going to generate some long-term threats if we leave it there. It's in an awkward spot for us because it's got a lot of potential squares to jump into. And they move their bishop out. This would have been a better square to hit our rook after moving their knight. And we moved our knight back. They moved their queen, and we pushed our pawn. We captured and captured, and they went back, and we put our queen into a more aggressive position. Apparently this move was slightly better. I guess the only reason would be to cover this square in the case of a knight move. We went like this and played en passant. In this position, apparently, we shouldn't have went up with the pawn, but the bishop instead. I guess preserving our pawn structure makes sense. We got their knight, and after this we danced with our pieces a bit. We had this lucky knight move. I did not, as I mentioned, see this skewer down here. So our knight positioning was a bit lucky, I'm going to admit. They captured, we captured, and they played that move. Afterwards, we found a way of remaneuvering our bishop, and our opponent resigned. So this brings us back up to 1273 ELO, which is currently, I think we got 28 ELO points today, which is the lowest we've got so far, which means our ELO is starting to stabilize. Now, thank you all for watching to the end of the video, and I hope to see you all going forwards in our journey. Bye bye!